Hey guys, what's going on? E-Rounder here, and got 4 tables of 25 no limit on Ignition Poker. I just took a pretty good sized hand off of player 2 on table 1, and pretty much just starting up my session. It's about 7:15 p.m. Eastern time on a Monday. So Mondays are typically, come on, what's going on here? Mondays are typically pretty good days on Ignition. And so we're gonna get our session started. I spent probably a good 3 or 4 hours today studying already. Made a point to go through some videos, go through some stuff. I put out some trouble hands that I had to my study group, kind of asking them for some feedback on some spots that I was struggling with. So we'll see if anything comes back there. And then just consolidating some notes on just sort of different general rules, ideas, thought processes, data points that I can use when reviewing my hands. I still feel like I have like a lot of video to get through. I usually watch stuff twice. I kind of watch it once through and then I watch it a second time taking notes. Some of this stuff is has so much depth that, that may not be enough. So I do feel like I have a lot of content to watch. I also feel like I should be doing a lot of hand history review. So tomorrow, I probably will try to work through at least 10 hands of data point analysis, as well as probably get through at least one more video with notes. So that'll be my plan for tomorrow. The data point analysis, I will do a video on. I don't think I've actually uploaded one as of when I'm saying this right now. I haven't uploaded a data point analysis, but during one of the breaks I take tonight, I'll probably be doing all the rendering and editing for that, and putting that up, pretty much scheduling that upload. I'm not necessarily going to grind from here out, because again, typically the tables don't really get going until later, like 9 p.m. is what I've kind of been finding in the evenings. So I mean, if that's the case, I'm not gonna like push it to like go too early. If I need to, I can either just sort of relax for a little bit, or relax, or just like review some more stuff. I don't want to like completely fry my brain before I start a session, so I like to kind of decompress a little bit. Unfortunately, it was pouring outside today, so I didn't go for a walk. I found like something that's really good, and it's actually really interesting. My coach mentioned it in a video after I had already kind of been doing it. But if you do a bunch of studying, or if you kind of are learning new concepts, it sometimes really helps to like go for a walk afterwards. Even a long walk, like a hour, 2 hours, and that sort of walking around kind of helps integrate a lot of those things. 10-6-5 is pretty connected. It's low, it's two-tone, it's connected. We just got over, so I don't think this is a great spot to check raise. We don't have quite enough there to check raise. This 3-4 queen, though, is like the perfect spot to check raise. Even though we have the 8, it still makes for a good check raise. And we can fold out hands that have a lot of equity against us, so I don't mind it. And it's just dry. Like I'll probably check raise like 100% here. Or sorry, it's not even a check raise. This is a continuation bet, but I think it's still okay. Right? Am I wrong? What happened here? I gotta work on this. Raise, call. Okay, so it's raise, call, and then he donked out. So yeah, I like it even better against a donk, I think. Calling would also be okay there, but I think that I don't know, because the 8s are a little vulnerable. I think calling with a queen would be good, but when I kind of want to protect my hand a little bit, I think raising is slightly better. Here with 3s, I don't know. This is probably a little bit like a little nitty, but I'm just gonna muck. We're out of position here, single raise pot, so we'll check. So one thing I noticed in reviewing some hands, and this is a serious leak, is that, and this guy we should probably like mark as, what do we decide? I think purple is what we're gonna mark people that are crazy. Like they're crazy, and indigo is when they've seen us do something crazy. But one thing I have been not doing is recognizing very well what has been happening pre-flop. It's another good check raise, 9-7-2. Low, rainbow. I mean, this guy doesn't have a lot behind, so we probably have to call. We should have shoved. This should have been a shove since I can't fold. But that's all right. We still have equity. That's why it makes for a good shove, by the way, is because we're going to have equity against this call. So I made a slight mistake there, but he wasn't folding to a shove anyway. So, I mean, the result would have been the same, but the way we got there could have been a little bit cleaner. I feel like last week I would have been stressed out about that play, but now I feel completely fine with it, which is good. It's a good thing, right? Okay, so this was I'm sure we raised. This guy called in the big blind. He check called, and now he's checked again. So I think we're going to barrel again. And then if he calls again, we're only going to bet if we improve on the river. So yeah, I would say right now, I don't know, it's my biggest leak. I don't think it really matters to classify where it stands on on how bad it is. But yeah, getting to spots post flop, especially a turn and river, and then forgetting especially the pre-flop action, because that's such a big part of the opponent's range overall that we need to be thinking about, is something that I've been, making a pretty frequent mistake about. So this is a under the gun open and a 3-bet from MP. So I'm just going to fold the 3s. That's another small leak that I think I've picked up from watching a few more videos is something that was actually mentioned in the comments of one of my videos. And that is calling a little bit light versus 3-bets, even in position and, probably especially out of position. But because players just in general are not 3-betting frequently enough and are 3-betting, pretty linear ranges for the most part. And when I say that, I don't mean that they're always doing it. I mean it's disproportional, right? It's a little bit dangerous to say that like, oh, this is what's always happening, but it is disproportionately happening. Yeah, we should isolate here. There's like pretty much 2 fish in this pot, so we should definitely isolate with ace-jack. I honestly would probably just get it in with this guy. Ace-jack's like the worst hand I would want to do it with, but I would. It's high variance, and we're going to get shown a better hand sometimes, but I mean, just from what we've seen, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, now I think we want to take a slightly... No, let's just bet. Let's just stick with our standard line. He can he can lose his mind and shove, and that's fine. And I don't really could have gotten in a lot of trouble that hand. I mean, yeah, sometimes when we have the nuts, it's okay to check, like go for, a check or a check raise. But again, out of position, it's pretty tricky. I wouldn't mind checking this back, but stick with our default strategy of betting. This guy's pretty nitty too, so he should, fold a fair amount. And then this is not a barrel card, obviously. That should be pretty obvious that it's like the most code red card we could ever see on the turn. And yeah, we're just going to check back. I don't think we get folds from anything significant. Like yeah. Don't think I need to explain that one. So here we've got a little like min bet. Normally I would raise this. I'm not really sure what we're doing here with the queen five suited. I don't like folding to a quarter, like a bet that's the size like a quarter. So I'm just actually gonna check. Sometimes this is like a weak pair. Like this could be a pair of twos here that like checks back. Now I'll fold. But I mean, we do have some backdoor draws. We have a queen. Sometimes it's also good if like we do get the opportunity just to see what somebody's doing something with, because that's such a non-standard thing to do that it's really, yes, it's typically like a little merge thing, but it can also be the nuts. And so it's kind of nice to like get to a river once in a while once somebody's done that on the flop, especially like somebody that we're directly to our left that we're going to play a lot of pots with. What is going on with this table? This does not look like a good table. It's let me pull up our lobby. And none of our tables look terrible. Players per flop wise. Queen 10 off, even though this person appears to be sort of crazy. I don't think we want to do any late calls when there's still more players to act and whatnot. This guy full potted it. I'm not sure if that's standard for him. I haven't noticed his other raises. So this is a spot where we would normally do our like 1/3 bet size. We have the king of spades also. So I guess because of all the protection we have, and because we're so high up in our range, I think we're going to actually check back, give this guy the opportunity to start bluffing. Not something I usually do, but I do think when we have the board crushed like this, same thing here. I don't think we really need to raise. There can be bad river. That's like one thing that I've noticed is, there can be bad rivers, and we just have to be okay with that sometimes. Here, what we have, right, 9, 10. Yeah, we pretty much have the nuts here, so, right, there's nothing that beats us that I can see, so we'll just raise. Maybe he got there with like king jack or something, I don't know. We definitely want to play really tight on this multi-way pot on the turn. I think we played this in a way that this player was not expecting. Nice. So we actually take down that multi-way pot. He's going into combo land right now. Right, if he's like a thinking player, he's going through all the different combinations of hands we could have, and would we have played it like that? Would we have checked with a double suited? Like, that's a thing that I would do. I'd be like, oh, it's double suited. Like, this guy would have raised his big hands. He actually managed to fold. I was really, like, usually when people go into the tank for that long, they find the call, but that's okay. Obviously, I think that we probably got more value playing it that way than any other way we could have played it. So I'm relatively happy with it. So when we have somebody donking out, I'm not going to go crazy talking through this. I'm just going to let it time down for a little bit. We're going to call all the way down. There's really no card that scares us. We're not worried about anything. Yeah. Yep. It's kind of cool when this stuff like works out. I feel like if this was last week, that guy would have just like shown up with the flush or like a set, and I would have like legitimately been like, oh, maybe I should be finding the fold there. I was being very results oriented last week because I went on like a 10. I moved down to 25 no limit and immediately took like a 10 buy-in downswing. And so I just was like really caught off guard by that. And so I started like questioning everything that was happening, everything I was doing, and everything that was going on. But yeah, that donk lead line is pretty bluffy, and that's the sort of read we have on that line. And, we just go with that read. Now, ace king is about as easy a hand as you can get in that spot. What's more interesting and more entertaining, I suppose, is if we take that read and make that same play with, second or third pair, or, something lower down in our value range. So this guy just pots it. That's his default. So that actually makes this 3-bet a little bit more lucrative. And we haven't shown down anything. Like every time we've raised, every time we've done anything, nobody has a read that we are doing anything other than just hitting hands and betting for value. So that's kind of important to realize. We are 3-betting 42%. So that's happening. This is not under the gun, so we can just 3x. Again, multi-way, we're just going to tighten up, not get out of line. I've talked about this in a couple recent videos. Yeah, I'm just gonna muck it. I mean, this is a donk into two players. So I mean, yeah, maybe an 8 should be a call. If I was in position and the other guy had folded, I would call. But I'm just tightening way up here. So this was a good fold. This guy is just going ham with ace-5. That's so far, like that's just way outside of anything that could ever be. As far as I know, that's just way out there. Like that ace-5 is just way out there. Like way out there bad. So 8-3 suited, not an open normally, but we have a 9-9 here to our left on table 3. No need to defend queen 6 against a guy that's raising 4%. Ace 8, just not that strong. I do think that there are a few spots I was defending a little bit too light. 2 3-bets, 2 like early position opens. I was defending a little light in the big blind, I think. I might have been defending a little bit light in the small blind occasionally. This one doesn't look too bad, but we'll just fold. It's fine. Yeah, bad fold. Being a little results oriented. Oh. So here we've got top pair, second nut flush draw, in position. I think we can check back. We got a very authentic view of what our opponents have when they, check to us twice. We can be pretty confident about our top pair. We still have redraws. We wouldn't expect anybody to be slow playing a set on a board like this. So, very low frequency. Would anybody be slow playing something strong other than like the nut flush? We do have a 14-7 opening. It's only 14 hands, so not really much to go on. I mean, even over 20 or 30 hands, my stats have looked maybe not like that, but this is just a squeeze. It's just what it is. And Jack 9. We do have this guy to our left, and he's short. And Jack 9 doesn't play all that great against a short stack out of position. So one thing I'm trying to do and trying to notice and trying to sort of accept, like bring to the front of my consciousness is like the feeling you have when something is happening that is like uncomfortable. So I know that play is raise with ace king offsuit, right? That's pretty straightforward. Everybody watching this probably knows that the correct play there is raise. When a guy's sitting there timing down, I still have an uncomfortable feeling. What's about to happen? Is he going to call? Am I going to have to play a flop out of position? Is he going to raise? And then I have to decide, whether I want to get it in with ace king and, maybe be like drawing super thin or risk like making a bad fold. Like there's stuff going through my head there. Maybe not all of that is necessarily conscious, but there's a discomfort waiting for the play to happen. And I need to work on getting comfortable with being like uncomfortable. And then identifying like, why am I uncomfortable there? Well, because a lot of what is about to happen is very close, right? Not a lot of what is about to happen I have no clue how to handle, because that's probably not true. I probably will play the hand very close to correct, 9 out of 10 times. I might make a little mistake here or there. I might even, make a larger mistake occasionally. But, most of the time I kind of know what I'm doing and know how to play. And so just accepting that, well, this is probably just one of those spots that's a close spot and, is going to be high variance. And recognizing that this isn't like oh no, like what's about to happen, I don't know how to play this. This is a feeling I think I get when my brain sort of understands that something relatively high variance is about to happen. This guy checked. We do have pretty good equity, so I'm not sure if checking behind with our ace high might be good when this player 3-bet checks. And he 3-bet and then goes for the check raise. This is too high up in our range to just fold. Again, it is kind of a little bit higher variance, but we also should get a pretty clear picture of what's happening on the turn. Let's see. We could go into combo land a little bit if we wanted to, but for the most part, he does have hands he can barrel, so sizing is going to matter. We now have a pair. We have second pair. So it's not a great spot, right? Because even our ace might not help us. I assume I bet the turn, or I bet the flop. Yeah, this is not a great card to continue barreling on. Yeah, I guess we're too high up, and there's so many cards that he can still barrel with. I do have the ace of clubs, which makes folding a little bit more reasonable, and so I will fold the river, just because he's not. I don't think most players are bluffing often enough here, and I guess there's like one combo of jacks. I don't want to go into combo land too much. This is kind of close. I think this is probably closer than. I don't know. This is a good one. I'm gonna probably look at that one a little bit more. I'm a little. If anything, it's probably a fold earlier in the hand is the answer. Like it might even be a fold on the flop raise. I'm not upset with how I played that though. Right, like I think there's a better way to play that. I think we could go in and get some data points for that hand and play it better. I think this is the same. Is this the guy? Is this the guy that's done this before? Donked paired flop without trips or better. Donks flop with top pair or better. Interesting. Actually just gonna check now. I'm actually gonna kind of just pot control this a little bit, or attempt to. Yeah, we can fold. That might seem tight. I think that's a perfectly reasonable fold though. All right, like is he ever value betting worse? No. Like even a fish shouldn't, we don't expect a fish to be value betting the 9 high flush draw there. Like, no, that's a little much. At least it seems like a little much. So I've got that hand pulled up. I'll take a quick screenshot of it. Okay, sorry. Blind versus blind, we can call it. Actually, no, check raise would have been bad. Calling is okay. Probably fold the turn. Now we probably just check call. All right, because like we're probably not getting called by 2. Well, could have been a value bet on the river. Yeah, I should have paused for a minute and thought about that a little bit more, because there's plenty of hands in his range that can call that aren't going to value bet. That was dumb. I guarantee there's a like a bullet point in my notes that would have given us the answer to that if we reviewed it. So whatever that bullet point is, I need to go find it, highlight it, work on integrating it. This guy has a pretty annoying strategy to deal with. I've talked about it before. I've talked about this idea before, like that I watched a video at one point where yeah, I've got bottom pair here. I watched a video of somebody playing heads up sit and goes, and all they did was pretty much take an aggressive action every single time, and it was a min bet, and then only do anything differently when raised. And it was just to sort of demonstrate how annoying aggression can be. This one I don't think we get called by too many worse hands. Yeah, we should bet. The turn is a decent hot spot for bluffing, and then on the river we actually are just going to give up. We also have king high, so if he has draws that miss, we can actually win. So I'm going to say that this is around the 28-minute mark. That hand, around 20. So that's a good idea. I'll just take notes that way. I'll just paste the hand history into the note and kind of look at it after as sort of a first look kind of thing. See if I can go into my other notes, find any data points that would help me answer the question as to, how to act in that spot. And if there is one, highlight it as not fully integrated, meaning it's not fully, I'm not incorporating it into my game fully yet, because the situation came up that could have used that information, that knowledge, and I didn't use it. So obviously, even if I know it, even if I've seen it, it's not, integrated into my game yet. So fighting this table, the lower right table is not looking so hot. Let's go ahead and sit down next big blind. This table doesn't look great either. Maybe a fish in seat 4, but doesn't look too promising. Oops. So he doesn't bet. He should have pretty much all air. We got there on the river, so I wouldn't expect him to be folding too often. And guess I'm wrong, but that's fine. Don't want to be results oriented. The answer there is to bet large with a large hand. When our opponent can call with we have so many hands that we beat that our opponent can, right? When our opponent can call with a bunch of hands that we beat, like I don't expect him to fold any 2 pairs there. So therefore, I expect betting to be pretty good. And here, I think we just want to raise to protect our equity. Right, we have a lot of equity here. He's got a lot of equity on turns, and we just want to protect our hand. We got called twice. Do 1 pair hands actually call us? We have the worst 2 pair on the board, and we'd have to like think somebody's going to call with like ace queen here, which I do think is true. But between the 2 of them, it seems like we are going to value own ourselves more often when we bet. But if they both check, we should be okay. I don't think anyone's checking back 2 pair or better. This table 3 is not looking so good. Here, I think we can go ahead and just size up. I guess we are the pre-flop raiser. Yeah, I don't think we want to let free cards on this board. I think as the pre-flop raiser, we can get away with betting. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of draws in their range still, right? Like, there's still a lot of draws. There's not that many 2 pair. Maybe some overcards. So I think continuing to bet is the right answer. This is pretty dry. If there was a board I was going to bet, it would be this one, but I'm just going to tighten up on multi-way flops, multi-way pots, whatever you want. All right, you're going to check twice to me. When I'm in position, I'll take a shot. So I think just a call here is good. I don't think we need to 3-bet this. The king jack offsuit against the cutoff. Against the button, I think it would be a 3-bet. A pretty clear 3-bet, actually. And then against the cutoff, I think we just call. This is fine. We can fold out of position with, especially since we're the like MP opener. This range should be a little bit tighter. Donk leads are pretty bluffy, but this board kind of hits a small blind calling range if you have one. All right, 42 minutes. So we got about another 15 minutes left before I'm gonna wrap up the video. I'll probably take like a quick 5-minute break. I actually want to go through and like review that one hand that we had and see if I can find any data points. Just take a break, take a stretch, and then I'll come back to it. It's almost 8 now, so I'll take a little break, come back around like 8:30, 8:45, and then I'll pretty much be settled in for a long, like 4 or 5 hour grind. I'm guessing I just screwed this up, but it's not the worst place to screw up, I don't think. And what I mean by that is, right, this was a call. Okay, so I was under the gun. No, never mind. I didn't screw this one up too bad. So I was under the gun. I raised. He called a check range, and then I think check down is fine on this board. Player one, yeah, short stack. I've mentioned this in another video that it was funny that another player at the table pointed out that it's always short stacks that are complaining about things going slow. That's probably because they're often playing with their last, $18 or whatever it happens to be. Which I would diversify. I would play, 4 tables of 5 no limit. But then again, I tend to be very conservative with my poker money. It's kind of weird. So there's a couple conflicting pieces of thought that I have here. One is like he's short, so the stack to pot ratio is going to make it very easy for me to stack off with one pair. The other is that he's 3-betting and under the gun open, so his range is tighter. So when I get it in with one pair, like I'm probably not going to be doing awesome all the time. So I decided to fold, and this table's not very good anyway. So let's see what else we can find. Pretty nice looking full ring table. 60% players per flop. In one of my recent videos, I mentioned that I was going to ask somebody else in my group that plays on Ignition what they thought about full ring, and pretty much they thought the same thing as me. They really don't enjoy playing it, and like, you know, just in general don't like it, but think it's really soft. And like one thing that they pointed out that I hadn't quite thought of was that like if you ever go to a live casino, right? If you ever go to a casino, sit down at the table live, and like 2 players stand up and leave, and there's 7 seats, like there'll be players that are like upset about it. They'll be like calling for the floor. They'll be like, hey, we need that seat full, you know, we need that seat filled. I'm not sure what the thought, like I have no idea. I really don't even know what they're thinking that makes them feel that way. I think it has something to do with rake. I know like once you get down to 6 players, you can ask them to lower the rake. So I always love that. Like I always love it when, you know, you get down to 6 players and you can be like, hey, can you lower the rake? And they will. And then you're playing 6-handed, and it's like, hell yeah. Like it's a lot more fun. So I'm not sure what the sort of mental block of not having a full 9-handed table is, but he was absolutely right. That's like, I've played a lot of live poker in the past, and that's like 100% what goes down. Like people do not like having empty seats at the table, especially if it gets down to like 7 or 6 people. They're like really upset. So heretofore, you take a player like that who's a live, you know, fish for lack of a better term, casual. I like casual player better because fish like sounds so negative. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a casual player. Like that's great. It's like the best thing in the world is to have lots of casual players. So, you know, when you have a casual player that goes from playing live at a casino and they're like, I want, you know, a full table, they're obviously going to be the people that are sitting at full ring games. And so the full ring games are going to naturally be softer. I don't think that that's necessarily the case at a site like PokerStars, where you have, again, a lot of like mass multi-tablers. Again, the Ignition environment just doesn't support mass multi-tabling, so there's no incentive for somebody that can play 20 tables of full ring to ever sit down, you know, unless they are, you know, playing multiple clients and Bovada is just one of the clients they have open, which not a bad idea, right? Like if you are going to play a bunch of full ring, if you were playing, I don't know if ACR full ring runs at all. I would guess it doesn't really, but you know, if somehow you could be on, I don't know how you could be on Ignition and a site like PokerStars legally. I don't think that actually works, but in theory, if you could be on Ignition and some other site that allows, you know, mass multi-tabling, you know, you could add 4 full ring tables of Ignition, and you know, those would be fairly high win rate tables if you were a good full ring player. Anyway, this is this might be a flop that we don't bet 1/3 on, but I pretty much just go with the defaults for now. I'll learn flop textures later, right? Like there's, you know, this is something that Nick has completely changed my thinking on. I mean, you can literally find me saying in videos that like as a reason for learning GTO that, you can just learn GTO now. That way you're playing perfectly and, you're learning how you need to play at higher limits. Whereas what I'm saying now is like, I'll learn which flop textures to bet and check later. For now, I'll just bet them all and worry about more plus EV spots, which is a direct result of his instruction, which I would have been pretty adverse to in the past. But I don't know. I guess I'm okay with it now for some reason. This table's not doing much for me. I do have a fish to my left, but I don't like fish to my left. Yeah, this seems like a pretty straightforward continuation bet on table 3. I don't think I would do anything weird. Like, I don't think I would be all that like scared of a raise. I would say that's about the most like code red turn we could get, right? So I think that's a pretty solid turn to check back on, because we don't want to get blown off by a raise, and we don't want to like inflate the pot. I don't know. I'm not sure if the things I'm saying right now are needed. Like, I don't know if any of those things are necessary to say. So questions. How often is he bluffing? Well, the spades missed, but like a king of spades is pretty heavily in his range. And like, so that makes perfect sense for him to have a king. And even like some of the other like draws got there on the king. So I would say the king is a bad enough turn, and we think that players are generally under bluffing. So I would actually, yeah, if it was the king of spades, it would be easier. But I think the king is a bad enough turn, given sort of the range versus range, that we can fold. He's betting fairly large, right? Like, he's not making a small bet. He's betting like 2/3, sort of like a normal sizing. Yeah, that could occasionally be a bluff, but I'm not too worried about it. I think that the run out is bad enough that we are going to get sort of under bluffed there. I think. So that's another hand that I think is very close. So it's not that I don't think it's close. I think it is, but I want to confirm sort of where we're at with it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a snapshot of it as well. And it's around the 53-minute mark. Sure, I'll call. See if I can actually get a rebuy. Yeah, if I can get on another table. I don't think I'm going to take any kind of break, actually. I think I'm just going to keep going. Taking a break will just slow me down. This was a really good table. It's showing 85% players per flop. I don't know what that could be or what that means even, as far as what that would look like in game, but it's too bad we didn't get to witness it. Oh, apparently I was on that table recently. I thought it looked familiar. All right, we'll wait for a refresh. In the meantime, I'll just change over the film now. Hope you guys are enjoying the video, and I will see you in the next part. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, leave comments, and I'll see you in the next video.